we... Now we're back. Had a little difficulty there getting that video up, but good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday. It's time for Master Motivation. My name is Jason Flame, and today's guest is Miss Hillary Brooks.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Hi.
So excited. So we got a chance to chat just for a couple minutes before we got started today. But I'm excited to introduce you to everybody watching. And again, if you guys are watching today, feel free to drop any comments, any questions, and we'll see if we can get those answered for you guys and have some fun. So Hillary's got a great story, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you. And let's kind of start with your childhood, Hillary. You know, tell us what it was like growing up. Where'd you grow up? You grew up here in California?
I grew up in California. I grew up in Chatsworth. My family is from the East Coast, like Georgia, West Virginia. But my parents met when they moved here to California. They did not know each other when they lived in Georgia. So I grew up in Chatsworth for the first 15 years of my life. We went to Rocky Peak. My dad was actually a Sunday school teacher, the youth pastor. My mom was a children's choir director. So I definitely grew up in the church. I loved sports my whole childhood, played all sports. Started karate when I was 11 with Master Mark Cox. He's amazing. So Chatsworth Karate, you gotta rep in Chatsworth Karate today. I have a little sister. She's 6 years younger than I am. She also did karate too. My dad did it with me. We got our black belts together. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was it. Karate, church, sports. That was my childhood.
So what was it like growing up in Chatsworth?
It was prettier back then.
A little different,
horses
right?
all over, you know. Not as much. It's wonderful. You know, I lived right by the mountain, right by Rocky Peak. So it was just gorgeous. I went to a private Christian school out in Chatsworth. It's no longer there. And then that was my elementary school. And then I also went to Los Angeles Baptist, a private Baptist school, and which is no longer there. But I loved being in the Valley. My grandparents they lived in Northridge since my mom was a little girl, and they still live there. So they have the same house. And so I still go to the Valley sometimes. I'm a Valley girl.
and talk a little bit about your parents. Tell us a little bit more about your mom and dad.
Let's see. My mom is actually, she's going to kill me for saying this. She's a professional singer. She is amazing. Like every Disney movie you've ever watched, she's singing in the background. She does background vocals. She still does it. Any Barbie commercials like from the 80s and 90s, like batteries not included. Like that's totally my mom. So that's pretty cool. She actually has a weight loss journey story herself, which was really cool because when we were doing karate, my dad, my sister, and me, she was in the other room in our karate studio teaching the fitness. And she will tell the story, you know, she was overweight. That's just not part of her growing up, was the eating healthy and working out. And when she was in her 40s, she decided to take a hold of that. And so she started doing some fitness over at Mr. Cox's school as well. And that's what motivated me. I saw her when I was young, and we're so musical. Our family just loves music and rhythm and music, and just like, and so when you add the punching and the kicking to the beat of the music, and you're just like, oh, this is the best. So we're taking best of both worlds of karate and music and putting it together. And so I got to watch my mom teach fitness, and that's what I wanted to do. So then my dad, he is master salesman. He actually, since he was in his 20s, was the sales manager for Viking Home Appliances, like those nice kitchens and
Mhm.
all those. So I get that sales side from him too, and the people skills. And he's taught me just all my life lessons, and he's just an amazing man. I love him so
So
much.
So you and your mom actually, so currently, for those of you that don't know, that don't follow you, you have a Facebook group. I believe it's called the Playground, right?
Playground.
And,
Okay.
and so how did that get started?
So my mom and I are both instructors at 24-hour fitness. We do body combat and turbo kickboxing. And so when COVID happened, when the gym shut down, my mom said to me, you know what? Let's do this. Let's take our. She already had this group called the Playground that she put online, and she used to go to the park and do that even when the gyms were going. So she's like, let's just use this playground group and let's continue it. So it's totally free. She didn't want to make any money off of it. All she wanted to do was keep people motivated during this time when there was no outlet. She knows, I know we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but she knows how important working out is for me and my recovery. And that's like my huge outlet, was going to the gym and going hard. And I needed that. And so she's like, let's take this and we'll just put it out there for everybody. So people kept inviting people. We have like 1,500 members in our playground group right now, and it's totally free. And we just decided, let's just keep motivating people. Let's keep people going. So we do that every day. We used to do it every day. I'm sorry. And then when church came back in person, I was like, I'm just going to take Sundays off just to go to church. Of course, everybody understood, you know. So we do it live 6 days a week. And then if you miss it, we save it to the page, and you can always go back there on your own time whenever and do that. So we continue to do it together, and that's our passion. We love it.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, the fact that you're able to help, because there's a little bit of accountability too for the two of you to get your workout in when everybody's kind of counting on you to lead this class and do this class, and a great way to network and reach out to more people, keep them in shape, keep them working out. You know, COVID has obviously hit a lot of people really hard when it comes to working out and having the right motivation to do it, because you know most people don't have that itch to just go in the garage and get a workout, right? They need that little bit of music, they need that little bit of background motivation from other people, and so you guys have been able to provide that for people. Now, prior to the group, like you said, you guys are both certified with 24 Hour Fitness, and you guys had taught at Mr. Cox's school. As a matter of fact, early on, I reached out to you, and you helped us out too, because you did a couple classes for our students. So what a cool way, right? I mean, 1,500 people. Um, you talked about how your mom did this for you to help kind of keep you motivated and working out. And of course, we will get into the story of your recovery. But one thing that I really like that I heard is your mom was someone that motivated you to train and to work out early on. You saw her as someone that put fitness as a priority. And of course, you have a daughter now, which we'll also talk about. What we see our parents do is much of what we reflect and what we do later in life as well. So it's not really what we say, but it's what we do, right?
Definitely. I'm a huge, huge believer in that.
And so you and your dad did karate together. You
We
trained at
did.
Chatsworth. Trained at Chatsworth Karate. So talk a little bit about training with dad, and maybe when you got started. I saw your picture today, as I mentioned before. I saw your picture with Ashley Sherman, now Ashley Sherman Kennedy. And I don't know if you knew this, but she married one of my best friends.
I,
He was
I,
what?
I see that on Facebook. Yes.
Yeah. He's one of my best friends. He'll be a guest coming up next month, I think.
Very cool.
Um, but to see you with Ashley, and I remember watching you guys kind of grow up a little bit. I taught at Chatsworth a long time ago. I taught back in 94. I've known Mr. Cox since like 86, 87. So I've kind of been in and out of Chatsworth. And what I remember most, I remember when you tested for your second degree. That was kind of like your comeback. But talk about like getting started in martial arts and then taking it with dad and earning your black belt. Give us some stories on that.
My dad, my dad always wanted boys, and he didn't get boys. He got 2 girls, and he said that it was the best thing that ever happened to him. He said, he's like, it doesn't matter. You girls were the best of both worlds because we're both tomboys, and I was the only girl on the baseball team, and he was my coach, and anything a guy could do, I wanted to get in there and go do it. And so anything that, and he always wanted to be involved and a part of. So it was just so cool that he wanted to do this with me, and we were motivated together to do it. So we would take class together. I was just old enough to be in the adult classes. I think I was 11, 12. So I got to take the classes with dad, and we would practice together at home. And I have pictures like, oh my goodness, the hair and him, we're like, back 20 years ago, practicing with our orange belts in the family room, thinking we're so cool, and had no idea what a huge impact karate would just have in my life. It's not just training and getting your black belt and then you put it on the shelf and it's over with. I mean, this is like life discipline, and my whole life has transpired because of martial arts and because of my training at Mr. Cox's studio. And so it's just amazing. I had no idea where it would take me.
If you show your left forearm, right? I mean, if you don't know those symbols, that says Tong Sudo, right? So obviously, a huge part of your life. What year did you start training with Mr. Cox? When did you get? You said you were 11.
Yeah, I got my black belt my first degree in 2001.
Okay.
And then I trained for a little bit, and then we did some moving around. My parents actually got a divorce when I was in my teens, and that kind of split us from a little bit of a regular routine. But then in my 20s, I don't remember what happened, but I reached out to Mr. Cox and I'm like, I have got to come back. I kind of dipped in Taekwondo a little bit. Tang Soo Do is better. I'm not just saying that. Taekwondo is its own thing. But I did a little bit here and there, and then I'm just like, you know what? There's nothing like my school. There's nothing like Tang Soo Do. And so I went back and I said, sir, can I get back in? And he was just so excited, and I trained hard, and I got my second degree. And it was like the best day of my life. My dad actually tied the black belt on for me because it was finally a decision I made for myself to go back to the school, not just like something my parents put me in. And I was the only one in my family training at that time. And it was just something I did for myself. And we can go into this too. This was part of actually when I came back is when I was fully into my alcoholism too. And I wasn't even really aware of it. And then I started teaching Fit Kick at Mr. Cox's studio. During that time, I was like 21, 22, 23. And I started Fit Kick. And at this time, I'm training. I had already gotten my second degree, and I had started training for my third degree. So I had already been training for almost 3 years. And then when I was at 26, I had like 3 months left. I had already done all my pre-tests and everything else. I had 3 months left until my third degree black belt test. Already on the team, already doing everything, and I get a DUI. And I made the excuse basically that was my pivotal moment at 26 where I put alcohol up here on this pedestal and I put my third degree black belt down here, and I gave up. I just was like, so that's where I was. I came back. I was so excited. I was motivated. And then alcohol just it was like, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. I need my drink. So I chose alcohol over my third degree black belt.
So before we get back to that, as an instructor, and I know Mr. Cox would ask this question if he was watching right now, when are you coming back to get your third degree? Right? I mean, that's going to be the question that everybody wants to know the answer, and you don't have to answer it just yet. But tell me, what are some really great memories of some of the instructors at Chatsworth Karate? Who were some of the people that really motivated you in your early years, and then when you came back to test for your second, who were some of the people that really inspired you?
Well, Mr. Cox is like a second dad to me. I mean, I've known him since before I was even a teenager. So and the thing about Mr. Cox too is that he has unconditional love for me, and he'll treat me like a daughter, and he'll tell me when I need to shape up and whatever, but he will never ever abandon me or leave me, or he's always pushing me harder, but then forgives me when I mess up. And that's somebody I look up to because he's right there to catch me. He'll help me. He'll help me realize when I'm not up to par, but he'll catch me. And he's just one of the most amazing men I know.
Well, anyone that knows Mr. Cox, anybody that's been with him long enough, can completely agree with that and understands that, because he will definitely call you out any chance that he can. But like you said, he's always there to kind of catch you when you need him. And he's been there for a lot of people. A lot of guests that I have and will have will probably reiterate that as well. What about some of the other instructors? Who else did you take class from, and who do you remember training with?
Master Carlin. Oh my goodness. And anybody who's watching this too that knows Mr. Cox has to know Mr. Carlin, because that man is just incredible. Oh my goodness. There's so many things I could say about him. His demeanor, his skill, his knowledge. You just look at him and he's one of those people that just joy and peace and humility and any great word you could ever say about somebody is Master Carlin. I'm so blessed to know him. I love him so much like a brother, and he's just one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. So if you
Probably.
don't know him, look up Master Carlin and go watch a video of him, and you're just going to be in awe. He's just best of the best.
Yeah, Mr. Carlin is someone who I often, when I explain who he is, or I'm introducing him to someone, or even I've told him on many occasions, he's probably one of the most well-rounded martial artists and one of the most knowledgeable martial artists. And with having all of that knowledge and all of that skill, definitely a humbleness about him, because you would never really know it because he's not going to talk about it. I am going to have him as a guest, by the way. He did agree to do a show, I think maybe later this year. But yeah, great dude. I remember Mr. Carlin. Well, he's Grand Master Carlin, right? And I remember when he was still Mr. Carlin. As a matter of fact, when I was teaching at Chatsworth, I think he was a purple or an orange belt is when I first met him. And there was something about him, even back then, you would watch him and he just, that face that he gives, right? Especially when he's fighting. It's kind of calm, but
Oh God, I actually
someone's
got the chills.
someone's going down. He's got this calm look, but someone's going to end up on their ass. I mean, that's just, what's going to happen. So yeah, super cool dude. Who are some of the other people, maybe training partners, that you remember?
One of my best friends in the entire world is Anika Fontaine, and she wasn't there when it was old school. I mean, my black belt number actually, it's pretty old school. I'm number 161. So, I mean, this is little, earlier on, but I have to give a shout out to Anika Fontaine, because if I didn't, it just wouldn't be okay. That lady is one of the most amazing women I have ever met in my life. And she's another one of, if you haven't seen her, look her up, because she is God-fearing. She is spiritual. She is so knowledgeable. She takes care of every single kid in that studio like she was their own, like they were her own kids. She will pray for you. She will be there for you. She is somebody that you want in the same room with you. She is on your team. And she's one of the people that make that studio run as well. She is just so good.
Yeah, no, she's a great lady, full of heart. I always appreciate when she's around because I've never I don't think that I've ever seen her not smile. Now I've seen her be stern, but then she smile after, and she on Facebook just, like I see your posts and love them. She's always posting such positive, uplifting messages, which is something that I respect and admire because Facebook can be full of haters and full of negativity, but she is definitely one of those ones that spreads more positive and love. So yeah, she's a cool chick. Um, let's head back. We talked about your mom, talked about your dad, kind of early years, and you have a sister who's 6 years younger.
Yeah.
Talk
She's
about your
also
sis.
a black belt.
I'm sorry, she's.
Um, so say it again.
Oh, I didn't hear you. You said she's also a black belt.
She's also a black belt.
Awesome.
She was 6 years younger, so she was in the junior class. So she did her black belt just 6 months after me. She was on the next team. When I came back to get my second degree, though, she did come and we had a couple of fight nights and, stuff like that. And it was pretty fun. I would never, ever hurt my little sister, but it's when you have your uniform on, you have your gloves on, it's like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's always fun to beat up your little sister a little bit.
I found that I have two younger brothers as well, both black belts. My youngest brother runs a school in Newbury Park, and the tide has turned on that one for me. It used to be I used to love beating him up. Now I don't look forward to fighting him because it's gonna be a war. So we don't do that anymore. But it's definitely fun to train with siblings, right? There's just a different facet of the training that comes with that. Just like training with your dad. Um, so you brought it up, and let's get into it because this I think is something for a lot of people that if you're watching and you know the story or you don't know the story, you may be able to relate with someone in your life. You had the DUI right before your third degree, and alcoholism took over. Um, Talk about that a little bit. Just be a little bit candid and let everybody know where'd that start.
Let's see. My parents got divorced when I was 16, and I started going to Simi Valley High School. My dad gave me the option. He said, you can either stay at Los Angeles Baptist and we'll pay the tuition, or you move to Simi Valley High School and take the public education, and I'll buy you a car. I mean,
I'll take the car.
So I picked the car. So just it's a different scene, different scenario. I can't say that I wouldn't have become an alcoholic if I didn't go there. It has nothing to do with that at all. But my parents getting divorced, I lived with my dad, and he was a little more of the naive, out of the two of the parents, my mom is on me and she knows exactly what I'm doing. And so definitely couldn't live with her. So I lived with my dad, my best friend, so I was able to hide it a little bit better. I started drinking when I was like 18, maybe 17. I started working at Chili's, and all of my friends were bartenders and servers, and we just always went out for drinks after. I got a fake ID. It started that way, that I just wanted to party and have fun. Then I had to maintain my fake ID because then all of a sudden now I'm going to grocery stores to buy bottles by myself to drink at home. And, I was a bartender and I was a server, and I'm just hanging around all these people that are drinking all the time. And I just kind of thought it was normal. I'm the only alcoholic in my family. So my parents thought I had a self-control issue, and maybe I did when I was a little bit younger. I'm not really sure what it was, but I didn't really know what an alcoholic was. You think of, when I thought of alcoholic, I thought of maybe like a bum or somebody drinking out of a paper bag, or somebody who had lost their home, lost their family. And I didn't know anything really until I got my DUI. I was forced to go to AA because that's what the court mandates you to do. but I wasn't ready. There's no way I was ready to quit drinking. Sure, I got a DUI. Sure, I lost my job. Sure, I'm getting into fights here and there. That my relationships are falling out. Things are not going well with me. But I never put two and two together that the drinking is the problem. I always, you had asked in a question, what was I going to say? Something in my childhood. One of the things is I don't like being told what to do, or I did not. I don't have a problem with it now, but here's why. I didn't like being told what to do because I knew it was wrong, and I had a victim mentality, and I don't like being called out on it, and it's my life, and I'm going to do whatever I want, and it's none of your business. You know, that kind of attitude, which I don't know where I got that from. It probably developed in my being defensive about my drinking. Basically, I pay my own bills, I live on my own, don't tell me what to do kind of thing. And I don't know where it came from, because that's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. That's not who I want to be. That's not who I want my daughter to be. So let's see.
Let me ask you this: when did you when did you realize that it was a problem that was really affecting your life? I mean, what was the moment that you just went, "This has got to stop"?
I'm 34. I knew I had a big problem. I want to say like when I was 31, but I still wasn't ready. It took me, I was actually engaged when I was 31. 2018, I was engaged. 2017, I got engaged. 2018, I got into a drunken fight with my fiance, and I left. And God has a funny way of taking care of things that I can't take care of myself. And that was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I ended up leaving him, and it was probably the worst alcohol run I've ever been on. Was 2018. There's weeks that I don't even know what happened. I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't piece it together. My life was in shambles. I was just living at somebody's house and bartending, just literally trying to scrape myself up off the floor because I'm so hungover. I have to drink to get to work to make sure I can function, because my body at this point is just, I'm alcohol. I need alcohol. My body will not function without it. This is no longer, I want to drink. This is no longer, it is fun to drink. This is, I have to drink, or else I'm shaking. And I mean, I'm going to work and I'm bartending like this, you know, and it's just like people are looking at you like, so it got to that point. And then September 2018, I found out I was pregnant. And so that's when everything kind of came crashing. And I said, all right, here we are. And this is when the moment of truth came. And it's like, are you going to step up and be a mom, or are you going to continue to do this? And, you know, I had her June 2019, and I did okay for a little bit. And then I started getting stuck again, and I started getting complacent, and I started being like, oh, I could probably have a drink or so, you know. And she was 3 months old when I decided, actually, I didn't decide. My mom helped me out with that decision. She came over to my house, and she's like, let me have Charlotte, my daughter. And I'm like, all right, the game's up. So I let my mom have Charlotte, and I packed my stuff up. I got myself together that week. I knew this was it. And I don't know what I was even thinking that week. I think even like the week before it was all over, The one thing I was scared of most is, when is somebody going to have an intervention on me? I had already had like an escape route in my mind. Like, if somebody tries to intervene with my drinking, like, I didn't think that there was life after alcohol. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know. I just thought life over. If I can't drink, what am I going to do? But I did. August 27th, 2019. I was shaking so bad. I went to the liquor store and I bought 2 shots, little airplane shots. Those are my favorite. You could hide them the easiest. So I bought 2 shots just to calm my shaking down. And then that was it. I moved into my mom's house the next day, August 28th, 2019. That is my sobriety date. And I got sober. I haven't looked back. It was rocky a little bit, like the first 60 days, first 90 days, you're like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to do this? And then all of a sudden, with obviously the help of God, my fellowship, my team, I stopped thinking about alcohol in the morning when I wake up. It was like all of a sudden it wasn't the first thing I thought of. And my daughter never has to see her mom drunk. And I thank God for COVID. I mean, my heart goes out to the people that are struggling so hard with this, with COVID, and mental health right now is just not at its best for anybody. I'm so grateful for my mom for giving me a place to stay while I get on my feet. The relationship that my mom and my daughter have is just absolutely, they just adore each other. And then, so that was 2019. Then all of a sudden, 2020, there's when COVID hits, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like, really? Like, my fellowship, there's not many places I can go to get, to get that help I needed. Thank goodness for Zoom. Then my mom saved me again by saying, let's do this online playground. So what she was doing, and what everyone kept saying, thank you guys so much for helping us. Oh, you're keeping us on track. Thank you so much for your motivation. And I'm out here going, thank you guys, because you guys are keeping me in check. You guys have me waking up in the morning, working out. I actually have never been in better shape because you guys keep me motivated. You guys make me wake up and do this workout, and it's life-saving, life-changing. I've never been happier. I'm so blessed.
I mean, first of all, that it's so amazing to see the joy in your face and the excitement and the energy that you're giving off right now. But I have to say, Joelle said it, thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for sharing this story, because listen, I know if one person could hear this story and it might inspire them or motivate them to make the same choice, to take that first step, I think it's all worth it. Right.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and Liz, I'm not sure who Liz is, but she's saying she's so proud of you, and I'm sure
Thanks,
that
Liz.
feels really good to know, because as an alcoholic, there is the feeling of guilt. I have dealt with alcoholics in my family, and understand what that guilt is like. But then to hear the people that love you and the people that care about you tell you they're proud of you, that just gives you so much more power to keep moving forward. And so just to be clear, we're counting days still, I'm sure, right? I mean, how many days? What's the time?
Oh, well, you know what? Actually, I'll go by months now. Let's see. It's February 15th. I'll have 18 months sobriety on the 28th. Let's see. I have my counter on here still, because
Listen, good for you. Good for you, regardless of, how many days, how many months, just the fact that you made the choice and you're still living it and you're still working, because it's a process that is going to continue. Um, You know,
Oh, forever,
I've
for the rest of my
I've
life.
watched it. Yeah, and so it's something that that's always going to be there. But then, you know, a great thing happened, and so you talked about your daughter, and it was you know, one of the things that stuck out in your bio when you sent it to me is talking about your daughter. And I have to be honest, you know, usually I'm pretty careful about posting pictures of people with their kids or with their names and everything, but I could feel how much pride that you take in being a mom. And so, how has that just completely changed your life? Because before we talked about how your mom has inspired you to, you know, to be this fit chick and do all your workouts and training, but now you got this little girl that you have to be that for her. Talk about being a mom.
This little girl, oh, Mr. Flame, she is just the biggest joy in the whole world. Anybody who meets her is just like, really? Is this how she is all the time? Because she really is. I mean, now she's almost 21 months, so we're almost at the 2-year mark. So she gets her little, you know, tantrum here and there. But for the most part, like this girl, just I'm in awe. I'm undeserving. This is where God gives his grace and his mercy, because he gave me this girl knowing that I needed her. You know, this girl saved my life, because I can't tell you where I would be. I mean, I have no clue where I would be back in 2019. I mean, if you would have asked me in 2018 if I was an alcoholic and if I was going to stop drinking for any reason, I would laugh at you. I'd be like, "There's no way." Um, so my daughter, I can't wait till she's old enough that I can actually look at her and be like, "You little girl, you're the reason for all of this. You should know how special you are." God had such a big, big purpose and plan when he gave me Charlotte. And and that's where it gets into my schooling too. And with COVID, uh, what's so cool is that I had no clue what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do something I was passionate about. And so um, I woke up one day and I'm like, I know what I want to do. I need to help people. That's what I need to do, because there's nothing I'm more passionate about than recovery and God and being healthy. And this is the life right here, you know? And whatever I can do to motivate one person to get their life on track, because I had no clue what life was. My life is it's two different people. My life really just started about 2 years ago, because I mean, this life that God gave me, wow, it's
That's
true.
That's so awesome. I want to share this with you if you can't see these comments, but Joelle Mancuso, and she's going to be a guest on our show, but she wanted to let you know, life is a series of adverse situations, and as we step forward, the fog clears. Sometimes we walk alone, but it's much more enjoyable with someone's hand. And you're welcome. I'm happy to share this story that Hillary has. And Abel also said, I'm watching your interview. I got to say, you're an amazing woman. Keep up the good work. Thank you for sharing such an amazing testimony for good change. God bless you and your little angel, Charlotte. So
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
sure, is Abel a friend of yours?
He is.
Awesome. Awesome. So cool. It's awesome, number one, to see these people recognizing and supporting you and commending you on this new life that you choose. And it's only really, like you said, it's only just begun. So you entered into school now to become a counselor. What you know, you talked about the decision that was made. How has it been since you've started that process? How have things? How has your mindset changed or improved from there?
Well, first of all, I have to give a shout out to my mom again, because she helps watch my daughter while I do school full time, which is totally amazing. So I started in last summer in June or July, and I'm just learning. First of all, something that you're passionate about, I mean, you can always learn more about it. And a lot of people don't understand addiction, or they don't understand alcoholism, or, you know, drug addicts or stuff like that. A lot of people have like this preconceived idea about what it is who they are. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know what an alcoholic was, and I am one. So, I mean, it's really, really helpful to learn the schooling behind why I am what I am, and it helps me be able to understand a little bit better and sympathize with people a little bit better. I get so pumped about it. Like when I'm in school, like, and I'm reading something and I'm writing a paper on it and I'm just going on and on and on and on and on. It's just that I realize that this is what I'm meant to do. And I can't learn enough. I'm just like soaking it all in. Like even when I'm reading what my professor is giving me, I'm still Googling and doing more and more and more, trying to find more and more. And it's just, it's the best thing ever. Like after I'm already excited when I'm done here. I have 2 brand new classes that I'm starting today. So I'm like totally excited to get on it and get started. And I start my externship actually next month. So I need 270 hours of unpaid work in a facility. And then I graduate at the end of June. And
Good
I'm
for
just
you.
so excited.
Yeah, good for you. And one of the things about helping people is what it does. For you, there's a sense of accountability. To be that example, right? There's also a little bit of pressure that comes along with that too. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being in a position where, having been a martial arts instructor my entire life, the pressures of the expectations to almost be perfect sometimes, you know what I mean, and to like never make a mistake, that can be really hard. Have you noticed? Have you felt any of that as you kind of go into this new phase of being someone in that
What's funny,
position?
I'm wearing my Chatsworth karate shirt, but the shirt I had on before that was "No perfect people allowed," and that is the motto. Just always try to be better. You're never gonna be perfect, so don't even try because that's an automatic letdown. There is no one that is perfect, and I'm just trying to be the best I can. It's me versus me, and that's just how I live. I mean, I don't even strive for perfection because it's just not going to happen. But as long as I know I'm doing my best, that's what I wish everybody would do is just do your best because I mean, that's the best you can do. You can't ask for more. So don't get yourself down if you can't be perfect but on that kind of note, I do strive to be a good example. Like I want to be a good role model. I know that there's young girls out there, young boys out there, anybody that they're looking up to somebody and they need that push, they need that edge, and I see people's stories and anytime you just relate to anybody's story just a little bit. I mean, addiction is addiction, even if it's food, if it's other things. If you catch one thing that you can relate to with somebody, that can inspire you to want to change your life around. It doesn't matter what it is. So just get out there, cling to somebody, cling on to some inspiration, and just strive for the best you can. I mean, that's all I try to do. I really do relate myself.
Well, I've been following you on Facebook for probably years now, but recently, I'm really drawn to your posts, and you talk about that a lot about not trying to be perfect, and being more accepting, and just being better than yesterday. One of the other quotes that stuck with me, because I'm one of those guys that always talks about our student creed, which is winners never quit, quitters never win. But you brought up something that made me really even think about that, because you know as an alcoholic, you want to be a quitter, right?
Ah, my
Sometimes
recent post, yes.
sometimes quitting is okay, and sometimes quitting, if it's going to help you win in the end, I think that when you put that into context. But it was just one of those posts that I'm always preaching the no quit, and then I read that and I'm like, She's got a point. That's a good one, man. So I
Thank
really
you,
did
sir.
like it. I really did like it. So, Hillary, as we start to wrap things up, first of all, if anybody has any questions for Hillary, please post them in the comments. I'll be happy to ask them for you and see if she would like to share anything else with us today. Um, but what are you most excited for now, moving into the future, moving into taking on this new career essentially? And your daughter growing up, watching all those things. What are some of the things that you're super excited to um, experience next?
I just want my daughter to know. I want to be an open book to her. One of the biggest things that I'm learning right now is the struggles and the times where you're like, I can't get out of this. There's no possible way, or like, how can I take this and see a positive thing out of this? In my experience, all of those times that I've struggled or had the worst times or the things that are the hardest, that catapulted me to where I am. And that thing that I struggled with the most, it turned out to be my passion and my purpose and my reasoning for life. And so I want Charlotte to know that every little thing that happens, that it's for a purpose. It's not going to be wasted. My dad always taught me when I was a little girl, there's good mistakes and there's bad mistakes. Because a bad mistake is something you continue to do. A good mistake is when you see what you did, you learn from it, and you fix it, you adjust it. And the best thing to do with that is I want Charlotte to know it's okay to make mistakes. Just don't continue to do them over and over and over. You need to learn from your mistakes, make them good mistakes. And that's how, and that's another post that I do. I do these posts for myself too, because I'll give you an
Cool.
example. I can't remember what the post was, but it was like one of those, like, you're right where you need to be. God's putting in your life what you need to do. And no joke, the power went out. This was just a couple days ago. The power went out at like 20 minutes after I posted that. And I'm sitting there like the whole day, no power. And I'm like, kind of like, oh, like trying to be patient about it. And then I finally was just like, oh my gosh, Mom, when is this power going to come back on? She's like, I think it's time you take down your post, Hillary. Like, you're not living it, just stuff like that. It's so good to be able to joke about it and to just always in a reminder that you're in the place where you need to be right now. There's no other place that you're supposed to be. So don't speed things up. Don't try to rush things. Soak in I'm talking to myself. I need to soak in every moment that I'm in because I'm in it for a reason and I need to grow from it. That's just the main thing. Just be in the moment where you are and learn from it.
Love it. I love it. I have two questions left for you, and we'll close out with these final thoughts. Number one, when does Charlotte start taking martial arts?
as soon as she can understand and comprehend. That was your question. I would love to get her back or get her into it. I have to finish my school, and I have to start making money so that I can pay for her martial arts instead of unemployment. When things start getting back to where I can get a good paycheck and make sure that she has that life that she deserves, then she's definitely gonna hit some stuff.
And who knows? Who knows? Maybe when she tests for first degree black belt, you'll finally get that third degree, right?
That would be amazing. Like, really.
So, last question, maybe an emotional question, but if you were to look back and talk to your young self at your deepest, darkest moment, what would you tell yourself?
You have no idea how good it's gonna get. But I think I would tell myself to stop being so self-reliant and focus on what God's will is and what I needed to listen more instead of being so stubborn and so me. I didn't want to be helped. I didn't want to You know, I would just tell myself to just put that down, put that aside, look at God, and just walk in God's will. And it's not over. It's not over. There's, you know, that's the thing is like, you think like, you worry about so many things. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. It doesn't matter. In a couple of years from now, it's not going to matter. And the big things that do matter, you know, you can always still work on them. Keep working on it. It's not over. I guess that would be it. It's not over. You're not stuck. That doesn't make you stuck. There's always room for improvement. You can always fix it. And God's always on your side. He's not going to let you drown. So
Good for you. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being willing to share this story and be vulnerable. You know, it takes I think it takes a lot of courage to put this out there, because we have a lot of people that watch this now, are going to watch this in the future, and my hope and my reason for having you on this show was to inspire somebody else. And so I know that you've done that, and I just want to take a minute. You know, again, I have a lot of respect for someone that has the courage to do this. As I mentioned before, I have dealt with and gone through times in my life where I had family members with, you know, alcohol issues, drug issues, addiction issues, several in my family, unfortunately. And like you said, it's not over. You know, it's not over, because I can remember some really deep, dark moments that you just kind of want to forget. But when you look forward and see what's coming up, you know, that's super exciting. So thank you for doing the show. Thank
yeah,
you for
thank
just being
you.
you and keep, you know, spreading this news. I want to wish you, you know, all the best in your career now as a counselor to help other people. I hope that you'll get out there and speak more, because I think people will really listen when they hear that story. So good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hey guys, listen, just a couple closing thoughts here. I have a few more guests. As a matter of fact, my goal is 52 interviews this year with some very motivating and inspiring people. Coming up next week, we got Mr. Robbie Beard. Robbie Beard is one of my mentors and one of the greats in the martial arts industry. We got David Chacon, Daniel Groff, Joel Mancuso will be on here as well, and Mr. Mike Chat. And then I have coming up a special guest, Ernie Reyes Jr. I have been a fan of Ernie Reyes Jr. since I was a kid. I'm a little older than you, but do you remember the show Sidekicks? Do you remember a show? Not no Sidekicks. And then obviously the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, he
Obvious.
was in that.
I had sheets, my bed sheets. I told him I was like, I have to have those. Those are my favorite.
Surf Ninjas. He's
Red
in the
Ninjas is the best movie ever.
right. So he'll be our guest. So make sure to tune in. Thank you guys all for watching. This will be up on my YouTube channel by the end of the evening. Just look up Jason Flame and you'll get our YouTube channel. Please continue to like and share all of our posts. Comment even later. Follow me on Instagram, Master Jason Flame. They're all right there down at the bottom. Hillary, thank you so much for your
Thank
time and thank you
you.
for your story. I appreciate you. And we'll see you guys all next week on Monday at noon. Have a great week,
Appreciate it.
everyone.